Good evening and welcome. Do you know where your kids are? Minato is about to find out. We'll talk about that and more in this episode of the Team 7 podcast as Kakashi takes a tumble, which leads us into our first episode, Kakashi's Resolve. Before we get there, I'm Logan. Here's Asher. Here's Zach.
Wait.
My friends. In the edit, you're supposed to just like pop you up at that point. Like, here's
Bing,
Asher.
Are
Boom.
we?
Bing bong.
I tend to keep like all three of us up for a little while. Just see everything.
I don't watch.
Aren't we going to talk about a mask that hides the heart?
That's right. Okay, so we had some internet issues, and I last week, so I couldn't record, so we had to combine episodes. So yeah, we do. We need to talk about Kakashi's Anbu Black Ops episode, their arc. First and foremost, did it work? Do you have any shred of respect more for the abilities of the Anbu? Not for what they not for like what they do, not for what they stand for, but their abilities. You're going to tell me that you've watched this arc and not thought, okay, these are still elite shinobi.
Two of them are.
Let's see. Two.
Sorry, three.
Okay.
Him, Yamato, aka whatever the hell his name is, and Itachi.
Tenzo.
And after they left, thank you, Tenzo. After they left,
okay. So we're still just like Anbu sucks.
Well, I will say it's not just a blatant they suck. It's the same thing as any type of like organized tactical group. Like it's just shrouded with red tape and like decisions that have to be made, and when it all comes down to it, like the rules and the rhetoric and the things that they have to do, I get the reason why they want to explain that, and it's all in the story. But overall, that bit of backstory did not give me any credence to be like, oh, I get it. Like when Saratobi's up on the roof about to get, killed by Orochimaru and nobody came to help him. I get why now. Like there's still a bunch of whole time. There's still a bunch of tool bags. That's probably too far, but they just, I don't know. I feel like there's so much potential for this group, and they just fall short every time for me.
Okay. I totally hear that. Now, let me ask you the same question about Kakashi, because while this was filler, there's so much canon content in this. So more respect for Kakashi, more understanding.
As if I could have more. Sure. That was the best part.
Okay, so we did enjoy the batch.
Zach and I texted about this a little bit, and I'll go ahead and say I had some like rose-colored glasses with it, and of course I blew through it very quickly, but it was really like the last 4 or 5 episodes that I truly enjoyed, and the other ones were like okay.
The beginning, like the first 2 are fine because it's like, how Kakashi like was like early days and whatever, but that middle bit with like Yamato and the like smoke people is ass, bro. Like that is ass. That's the majority of filler for Naruto, is just terrible. So
it wasn't good, but it was kind of interesting to see that Orochimaru had groups of people across the map that didn't view him as the Leaf viewed him.
Right.
Like it wasn't just this secret shadowy group. I mean, I guess they were shadowy because they were living in the smoke in a cave, but it wasn't
On
like
the nose.
nefarious. It was just a village that happened to be in this cave. You know what I mean? Like a group of people that were just doing life.
Yeah.
And they appreciated Orochimaru. It shows that he's a good manipulator. It shows that maybe with things that we've seen later on, that he really doesn't have just a full-on villain side to him. Like he can understand good reasoning for things. So I appreciated that piece of it, but I get where you're saying that it was just not the best. And I think, I agree with Asher. Like the toughest part about this arc is I wanted to love it so much because if you remember back to the beginning, like I was all about the backstories of people and like their origins and like wanting to know more about their character and everything that has to do with those certain people. But it was kind of tainted with the idea that it was filler for me. And then on top of that, like I wanted to get to the batch we're going to talk about in a second so badly because it just came at like the wrong time. Like if they did that 45 episodes ago, bring it on.
Yeah.
But it also wouldn't make sense. Because right now Kakashi is in the middle of discovering his friend who's come back. So it's just if you were watching week to week, bring it on. And if I was none the wiser on what filler or canon was, then I would probably enjoy it way more. But I was just ready to get back to like the meat and potatoes of it.
Yeah, sure. I do think just a couple moments that really stuck out too were seeing Kakashi, Guy, Kurenai, and what's his name, Asuma, as sort of like budding leaders. That was really cool. I liked having that backstory. And then Sakura's parents. Yes. What a standout. That was hysterical.
Yeah.
But then it was like, okay, it's filler, so it's not part of the manga, right? But we can still say like, okay, these things happened.
Well, some of the things are confirmed in other episodes. Like, we see later that the Hokage are reanimated, and the third Hokage confirms. He confirms something that happened. Oh, that he had like met with Itachi and had like done that deal. Like, where they were like down in like the depths of like some place with all that like piping and everything. And I was like, I don't know if that happened. Like, that's a pretty big like deal to do. And then the third Hokage confirmed it with Sasuke, and I was like, oh, never mind. So maybe that's referenced somewhere else, and I've just missed it. But my point is, there is a ton of like either canonized content already, or can be corroborated with something else to basically be like, yeah, we can infer that this is canon. Or they've left it ambiguous enough that you just kind of have to live in this like, I understand that it's technically filler, and Studio Perrier is the one who wrote that and made that. Actually, I don't know. I guess somebody employed theirs who's writing all this filler. But I can still like, there's enough loose ends to allow this to happen and it not be a big deal. So we could still treat this like these smoke people in this cave as like, yeah, they're somewhere out there. They just don't really affect the story. And we can just like live in a middle ground.
Or they're a metaphor for all the people that Orochimaru manipulated or something.
Like that too. Yeah, absolutely. Getting blown away by the wind, man. Dissipates. We're gone forever. Crazy. Yeah, okay. I don't know if we can really argue that Orochimaru was like compassionate in that sense. He experimented on people that can be blown away by the wind. Terrible.
But terrible. I mean, he technically did kind of like help them survive. It was obviously for nefarious reasons, but wild.
Well, is there anything else you guys want to talk about for the Shadow of the Anbu? Okay. 362, Kakashi's resolve. We come back to the war. There's a few things happening here. So we've got like the war with everybody fighting with Madara and Obito and Kakashi, Guy, and Naruto. And then we've got Sasuke and Orochimaru and that crew, and now the Hokage. And then within that, we have all this backstory with Hashirama and Madara. So I'll leave it up to you guys. What do you guys want to talk about first? I know you guys love this batch, so we can like save the best for the end or start with it, whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah, go ahead, Zach. I don't know where to start.
Yeah, I'm with something like this where there's so much going on. I feel like maybe we should just go like in order of how we saw it.
Okay. Sure. So let's start with so Kakashi's resolve. From what I remember, they're fighting. We don't actually see Sasuke in this. We just see the like core, like Naruto, Guy, Kakashi, Obito, Madara, and then joined at the end by like the allied Shinobi forces. So we have seen some power scaling that is like out of this world in this piece.
Wild.
Like, absolutely wild.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see. I mean, I love that it's like it's really something from where we were at like OG Naruto to now. Quite a different
It's like
show.
a slap in the face
Yeah.
of like, I have not seen anything like this yet.
Yeah.
You know?
Is this
like
your all's
nothing.
first? This is your all's first like anime like just all out battle to fully see and understand, right? Question mark.
I mean,
maybe not for you, Ashy.
I watched Dragon Ball and Gundam growing up, so like I've seen my fair share of like big fights.
Yeah.
But following a story religiously like we have for this, yeah, this is the first time.
I don't want to give away much of Full Metal, so I won't say anything there.
Sure.
But I think like Trigun, which was my kind of main introduction beyond Dragon Ball Z, there was nothing with like this many people. Like there were very powerful characters in there, but like this is Avengers Endgame kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, it really is. Like everybody's shown up, and it's like, yeah, it is. And then they start shooting massive splinters at everyone. And we'll come back to Neji. Well, Neji has to wait. First, they take out the brains of the operation out of nowhere. It really is like he's just firing. Did you guys kind of get an inkling that like, oh, they were about like Ten Tails is about to shoot at them?
Not them. I was thinking like, okay, they're gonna cause mass destruction just around the world or like close by random villages.
Yeah.
But it didn't occur to me that it was going to be Inuichi and Shikaku.
It shook me. I did not. When I first learned, or whenever I first saw that, I was like, no.
This is how it played out for me. I thought Madara was pissed at Nagato for failing the mission. And so he was going to undo everything that he had fixed with the Rene Rebirth to, like, I'll show you, like, I'm going to have to do it either way. And so I was like, dang, he's going to, like, destroy the whole Leaf Village. And I thought that's what that major one that everyone was freaking out about. But right before that, I was literally feeling so much respect and admiration for Shikaku that, honestly, it hit worse than if it hit the village, in my opinion. Like, if it hit the village, it would have been an expectation of, like, dang, I hate Madara. But I literally despise him now. Like, Shikaku is just... He's, like, one of those guys that's, like... I don't know. Like, he's just respectable.
This makes me so happy. I cannot tell you how happy this makes me. I love it. Every week in, week out, you guys just make me so happy that we've done this, because it is such an investment. But to watch the payoff in like real time is great.
Well, I told you all this before we started recording, but it is destroying my insides to not be able to just watch and know what happens.
I think you would already be done with Naruto.
Oh, like months ago. Now more than any other week that we've been watching and recording episodes and stuff, like this is when, and it's partly like the Naruto and Hinata thing. It's like, okay, all right, we're going there now. Now I'm more bought in than ever. Not that I wasn't bought in before, but it's just it's a lot.
Man, I really wish that they had done more with their like relationship throughout the series. Because even like with the little bit we get, it's like, oh my God, I love them together. But I don't know. I wish that they had like built more around their relationship so that we were like even more bonded to it.
Sure.
Because I remember growing up still like honestly I didn't really want Naruto to be with Hinata until the Pain fight. Like I didn't think that it made sense. And then the Pain fight and I was like, oh, okay. They draw in her. I wasn't aware.
Sure.
No, but like her like dying for him and everything, it's obviously we're led to believe that they've spent more time together than what we've been shown. So so we can go back to the splinters now. Let's talk about our boy Neji. I mean, minutes later.
Crushing.
I texted Lance and Logan because I was like, oh my God, Shikaku and Inoichi. And then within minutes, I was like, all caps, Neji too. Like, I can't handle this.
Everything.
Dude, I did. Here's the thing though. I knew, I had an inkling at least that someone was going to die in this battle, like somebody really important. And part of me started thinking like, okay, who could possibly be the most important? I didn't predict Neji. I didn't really predict anybody. But when it was him, I was like, good writing choice.
Yeah.
Because that is tragic.
Yeah, it really is tragic. It's like, Kiba, come on. Like,
yeah,
please.
Yeah.
Not Akamaru.
Yes. Right. Not Akamaru.
let the dog live.
Oh man, I love that we both like had the realization that we needed to specify that we want the dog to live.
No, it was honestly one of those injuries that when I first saw it, I was like, okay, cool. Like, he's going to come out of that. Somebody's going to, like, 10 trigram palm it out of his chest, and just didn't happen. But it also, in the same way that the Pain fight sealed the Hinata relationship, like, this was the catalyst to spur that even further. So I hate that it happened that way, but yeah, I was honestly so upset about Shikaku more than Hinata that I kind of overshadowed it in my own emotional ride of this batch. But it's still, I don't know, it just didn't hit as hard to me. But it's still,
you were so in the minority
really?
for that.
I'm sure I am.
It was,
sure
I mean, to me, it was like on Hot Ones, like the Hot Wings interview show, where the hot sauces just compound over time. That's how it felt to me. It was like, okay, we've done 7. It's really hot. This is bad. And then they get to the bomb, and then it just pushes everybody over the edge. That's what happened with me watching Neji.
Yeah, it sucked. It was the worst. Just not as bad as Shikaku for me.
I get that.
Well, I mean, I feel for Shikamaru. He's had both father figures die within a year. Like, to put that in perspective, this has been within a year. So, I mean, I couldn't.
Technically, Ino as well, because that would have been awesome.
Yes, Ino as well. Great point.
And even like, even him like trying to tell Choji like, save your words, like, we're at war. That was like a dagger straight to the heart. And I think it was like the understanding of that and like the relatability to that for me personally. And then losing a friend like Neji is awful and it sucks. But the it was immediately pacified with them holding hands, right? And so for me, it did suck, but it was like there was a purpose in the storyline that made me immediately be like, oh, great.
Yeah. But it feels like
whereas
HQ
I
was taken
didn't
out.
feel that. Yeah, I didn't feel that for Shikaku.
Yeah.
It was like gut wrenching.
Yeah. Just like out of malice instead of like.
Yes.
Like you can I think that's such a great point. Like you can immediately see a good come from Neji's death, which still sucks, but like you can see that. But like them taking out HQ is just like bitter. Just bitter.
So bitter. And petty.
Right.
That's Madara. What a bitch. So so then Naruto by this point has charged up his chakra, and I just wanted to bring this up to make sure like you guys didn't have any questions.
He went and gave it to everybody, right?
Yeah, which is like we've not seen anything about that, and they do explain it, but if you guys wanted to talk about it more or something that didn't make sense, I
think it made sense. And then Kurama also had to like charge back up. I imagine he was making like gang signs in there. Like, do you remember being in like elementary school and you learned how to make the word blood with your hands?
I wake up.
That's what I thought
every morning. I do that in the mirror to make sure I still have my skills, and then I draw the S with the 6 lines.
I also liked amazing. I also liked Kurama calling Kakashi a brat. It's just I don't know. I see Kurama as like pretty badass. He's obviously very angry all the time still, but softening up a bit. But he was like, Kakashi, you brat, give me your hand. I was like, like what would I not do if Kurama told me to?
He definitely commands respect. That's for sure.
The voice actor for him is great. I know we've talked about it before, but I think he does a great job of it not sounding so cheesy. I think it's
because it totally could.
Yeah, very easy to go like from like I aspire for like macho and intimidating, and it comes like super cheesy. But it's something about the growl of it almost, and I wonder how much of it is being edited. Like, I don't know how much of that is just the guy's voice.
That's interesting. Some effects or something. Maybe a little bit, but I don't know. I've seen enough Alex Terribles in the world, which is a metal vocalist who can do crazy stuff, that I imagine people who do voice work for a living have probably figured out some like crazy hacks to their vocal cords, you know?
Yeah, that's my point. It's like, man, to be that low, like be that low and have that like gurgle almost,
right?
Is like, God, my throat would be on fire. I could not do that. But like you said, like people have figured out a way to basically trick the body into like letting the voice do crazy things. It's crazy.
Oh, speaking of, to me, the Naruto thing made sense. Like he's kind of giving his chakra around and he has just an insane amount now.
Yeah.
The other thing I thought was really cool. Oh, shoot. I just made a note. The Byakugan plus mind transfer was like such a cool combo. And I know we can't spend time with all those characters, but I was like, it would have been cool to see a couple more of those types of things between the different squads. I really like that. It's just like a little detail, you know?
Yeah.
Which it's also the scaling up. Like, yes, the scaling up of the 10 tails and the power of those beast bombs, and that is huge. But even like the Ino Shikacho,
right?
Like in the way that they work together, and like now there's a whole line of people in is it Nara clan?
Yeah,
that like are working together on this shadow possession too. Like all for that mind transfer to take place was phenomenal.
Yeah,
such a good payoff of that specific niche of jutsu.
I remember them in the Forest of Death, like kind of failing miserably.
Sure.
And then now this is just really cool.
Completely different. Like you basically, I love that. Like that progression for those characters because they have perfected it now. And I think they're even better at it now than they were whenever they fought Asuma. And in the same war. I mean, technically that would have been like yesterday, and it feels like they had already like had like revelations.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing. Like this, it feels like the back like or like the last 100 episodes of Naruto is basically just like one color, because they're all on this battlefield, and it like keeps reminding me that like, okay, like time is like still very slow for them. Obviously, I'm seeing like real time basically, and then some like layered time for like the Sasuke stuff and whatever. But it makes it feel like this is like a 1,000-hour night.
It's like 10 days in a row, but it's really just 2 or 3.
Yeah. So, I was going to say, I also think that the way that Naruto and Guy and Kakashi were bailed out of that beam coming right at them was like nice. I think watching it, I even knew that they were coming, and it still felt like a realistic choice, if that makes sense. Like it didn't feel like, I don't know, some sort of like cheap way to like be like to take the hit. Like to take the hit would have been like annoying, I think, because it was like so powerful. But so again, like I like that they incorporated those other characters back into it, because we don't see too much of them anymore, because it's so that power scaling has gotten so out of their reach that if it's not all of them, which is the point of the allied shinobi forces, that the sum of them is greater than one. So let's move on. Let's talk about Sasuke and his journey.
Hey, I'm sorry, real quick.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how when Hinata first puts her hand up to Naruto's face, the sound effect there is...
It is
the loudest, just whoop. And I was like, she just slapped him. It's pretty badass.
If somebody hit me that hard enough to slap and then stuck their hand on my face, that would hurt, first of all.
Like, hey, wake up. I love you.
But also, like, the amount of hits that he gets from his opponents and stands right back up, it's like...
She knew.
Yeah. She knew
That's
it was
probably
just a little wake up. Yeah.
Amazing.
Probably liked it, too.
Oh, yeah.
What?
No time for that, but yeah.
We saved that for the Reddit threads.
Here's the deal. I totally disregarded. I love that you brought it up, because it kind of has that Avengers vibe too, of them showing up onto the battle scene. And again, I agree with you. I think that it was the perfect timing for that. But in the same way, I forgot all about Sasuke. And so seeing that transition back to Sasuke and his crew, I was like, oh yeah, we got a whole other side of this story to talk about.
Like, great, Suigetsu's here.
Yeah, wow. Let me hear some complaints for the next 2 minutes.
Oh, we did get like 5 seconds added to Tintin's on screen count. So dude, that's cool.
She's still around. Why didn't she get a splinter? What the heck?
She's still looking for because that everybody would have cheered.
Where's that fan?
That's why. She's still looking for the fan, bro. She's like, where is that thing?
Wait,
did I leave it out here?
She's looking up at monitor. She's like, wait,
is that mine? She's the one who wins. She takes
it. Speaking of the power scaling, though, like we have to have Tintins and Kibas to, compare to everyone else and appreciate everyone else.
Good point.
Yeah. What did Sorry, before we move back onto Sasuke, what did Kiba say on the battlefield?
I didn't make a note.
Died.
Oh,
no.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about an earlier part.
Maybe it was earlier, but it was like, okay, thanks, Kiba, for your commentary on this.
That was the note I made. It was a little bit earlier, like when they first get on the scene, and I was like, Kiba's still useless, is what I put.
What did he say?
I didn't put what he said. I don't know.
All right, back to Sasuke.
Yeah. So, the Hokage. I ask this all the time. Did you guys expect this? like we were told that they weren't going to be able to come back. So, they did find a way to bring them back that makes sense. But a lot of people, from what I've like read in years past or just like seen online randomly, is that this feels a little like convenient. Thoughts. I don't agree with that. To put that in perspective, I think that this is good writing. In my opinion, even if he thought of it later, I still think it's good writing because he found a way for it to work.
Well, we were told that with Kabuto and Toby, right? Like Orochimaru wasn't even in the scene. So that's, to me, the difference. Orochimaru has a completely different set of perspectives and backgrounds and things he's collected, and I don't think that this is convenient, mainly because the last time I said that, I chewed on my words because I loved getting all the backstory.
Yeah.
And this delivered in the same regard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, convenient or not, I want to know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree, but I also agree with Logan. Like, I don't think it's just, it's so out of left field and it's good for the story. Like, it seemed right.
Yeah, I think so too, because now they get to fight for the right side, be it using the same method that we saw everyone else come back, and we had to like endure like watching them fight each other, and that sucks. That's on purpose. And then now they get to come back, and we saw at the very end of the batch that they're heading to the battlefield, which is awesome. So the next batch is going to be, you guys are just going to love it. But let's do Sasuke's ending, and then we'll talk about Hashirama and Madara. So
perfect.
I know Asher texted about it, and I'd almost texted you back today, and I was like, I'm just going to save it for the podcast. Are we having trouble accepting that Sasuke seemingly we've not seen, we don't know. Sasuke can twist some words.
At this point in time, Sasuke can eat my entire butthole.
Oh. Yeah. Wow. Why?
He's just okay. Here's the thing. we in the batch with Karin just dry humping Sasuke. She's off of her rocker, absolutely. But he thinks he can just be like, sorry, and then she be okay with it. And then it works because it's her.
Right.
But I don't think he deserves that from anybody. So if he's going to go to this battle and be like, sorry, everybody, my search for justice and knowledge and everything paid off, and I'm reformed now. It's like,
you think he would need, you think he would need to do more to
okay. And here's the thing too. What more can he do except go and help
to
the
like
battle?
make amends? But sure. post battle, you still feel like he needs to make amends, like more than saying sorry. And what would that look like?
I think so, but I don't know. I'm kind of torn between like, am I just being really what is the word? It's not even selfish, it's just petty. Like, am I being petty about it? Like, does he not deserve a redemption arc like Pain did or like Nagato did?
Yeah.
I know we said we're going to split it, but here's the best way I wrapped my head around it.
Yeah.
Because we don't know the end.
Talk me down, Zach.
We're still in the middle of this story. In the entire backstory of Hashirama and Madara, at least this was my perspective, I wanted Madara so badly to just succumb to the idea of being a good person and sacrificing the family dynamic of like, I'm doing this for my family. It's like, yeah, but that's still stupid. Like, just let's make a truce. Let's do what we said we were going to do in our dreams. Let's be together in this unified front. Couldn't do it. All the way to the point of being on his back for the first time in the battle and whatever. And Hashirama is still like, he said like 3 times total, like, let's just call a truce. Let's do what's it called? Ceasefire.
Yeah.
If he said yes, I would have been happy. I would have been fully happy. And so, in the same way, why would I not be happy with Sasuke making the better call?
So that was going to be my point. So when I almost texted you back, Asher, and I told you like I'll text you back in a minute, but I had a very I felt one way immediately, and then I felt another way after thinking about it. So
do you mean when you were initially watching it?
When I was initially watching it. So I because you all know like Sasuke was my favorite character. At this point in the story, I was mad. I was like, or not mad, but I was like, I was kind of like you, Asher. I was like, okay, so now he just gets to flip. Like I didn't trust him. Like I was like, something isn't right. It's not going to be what I think it is. It's not going to be that. And I'm not saying that it is or isn't. We obviously are still in the middle of the story. But even at this point, I still remember thinking, this is what I wanted, though. I wanted Sasuke to turn around. I wanted Sasuke to go to the battlefield. I want him to fight next to Naruto. So now that I get it, I'm going to be mad about it. So that's where I immediately had to like be like, okay, wait, I kind of want to be on board with this. But again, things aren't what they seem. So don't assume that Sasuke is going to come and be Naruto's best friend. Things are not healed.
Sure.
There's no way. The only way I see it going is him being like, you all don't have to trust me. You just have to watch me like kick Madara's ass. And great. Like, sure. But the part of me, and I think you're kind of saying this too, like there's a part of me that wants things to be okay with Sasuke again.
Yeah.
And I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
So because him going to the battle. That's the only way I could see it going is him just being like, I'm going to fight. And then like, you all don't have to touch me again.
Yeah. We'll see.
Here's the thing though. If we're allowing some predictions, I don't think it's a conversation. Like I feel like they're gonna like talk
no
it
time
out
for
while
that.
while they fight each other once they kick Madara's butt.
Okay, along those same lines, if I may. There's no world where Naruto is like, now hold on, Sasuke. Naruto is just open arms. Friggin' Jesus out there.
Yeah,
you know,
I don't think Sasuke
Hashirama.
Because in the same way that Sakura, Naruto, and Sasuke parallel the Jonin, or no, the Sannin. I also see a parallel between Hashirama and Madara, and Sasuke and Naruto.
Absolutely.
If that makes sense.
No, it does.
You know what it is? I can't believe I'm about to say this. It's the Fox and the Hound on a much longer scale. That's more the Madara and Hashirama thing. Just go on a quick tangent here. That is the most heartbreaking Disney movie that's ever been created, in my opinion, because there are things worse than death. Like Bambi's mom dies. That's horrible. That's so tragic and so traumatizing for a kid. But for a kid, seeing that like you can't be friends with your best friend anymore, so much worse.
Yeah, that's tough because of dumb reasons.
Yeah, and that's Madara and Hashirama.
Yeah,
I'm gonna cry for the rest of the day.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, you look at like you brought up the similarities between like Hashirama and Madara and Naruto and Sasuke, and I was watching this and it kind of occurred to me that there's this theme throughout Naruto that there's And they talked about it too with Madara. Like there was stability, and then it was split. And then since then, there's been like these two sides of like the same coin, always fighting.
Mm-hmm.
So you see, Sasuke even talked about it with Itachi had inherited Hashirama's will without ever even talking to him. And then like the contrast of that there's not like a direct like opposite as much as like my point is like there's like an infection of like divisiveness between people instead of like just these two people. Like Itachi is like on this one side, and then you still see like it's almost like Senju Uchiha still like battling, but now the like people groups have been added to and then like mixed up a little bit. So because like Danzo is like what I would say would be like the opposite to Itachi there in like this like shadow versus like light. So really cool. I think that's like a theme that we've seen like the third Hokage and Orochimaru, and obviously this is just like good versus evil, obviously. But my point is, I think that I still think it's good writing that it's so interwoven that now we're learning things about like fights that have happened forever ago that we've either heard about or like the Uchiha like clan slaughtering that night. Like we've spent hours with that story, and it's evolved and more has been revealed like almost every single time. And I think that helps it not be so stale. Like the Demon Slayer like intro where his family dies it's rehashed like 4 times, but nothing new comes from it ever. We just spend more time there, and it sucks. It's terrible. Hate it. That show I finished that manga. The manga's honestly all right, but like, man, that show and story started great, ended kind of terribly. Not terribly, just kind of like, man, it lost its steam. Yeah. So, but my point is, I think that we'll continue to see that with, there's more there. Zetsu, there's white Zetsu, dark Zetsu, or black Zetsu. Like, what does that have to do with it? Everything seems to be interwoven. So, how does that?
And then there's Topi.
Right. And then there's Swirly.
All ends of the spectrum here. Yeah, that's cool. It's, it is kind of cool that Sasuke was able to see or hear at least exactly what happened. It wasn't just the story that was passed down and then it's like, okay, the Uchiha are done at this point. It's like based on the fact that he was able to get the actual truth, which is, I mean, I'm starting to soften a little bit here because his whole like thirst for knowledge and needing to know like what the hell actually happened here is admirable. And the fact that he would go kind of to the ends of the earth to like figure it out before making a decision is,
and collaborate with Orochimaru, a past trauma that like guaranteed.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, so we'll see what Sasuke actually means with he's going to defend the village and what his brother fought for. So Hashirama and Madara, like you said, Fox and the Hound story, Romeo and Juliet. Let's see, another one, 50 First Dates. All of these tell the same story. I'm just kidding, but the Fox and the Hound is definitely in that vein.
I love his 50 First Dates being in there. Every time they come back to the river, Madara's like, who are you?
Yes, what a love story. So gives a ton of context here. We obviously are told a little bit of the lore of like the Final Valley and everything with Hashirama and Madara, but never how or who they were as people. And we got to learn about the land a little bit before villages and how that came to be.
That was cool.
Yeah, it is cool. I really like this portion of the story. For whatever reason, my memory of this part is get on with it, but watching it this time is like, this is nice. It's different whenever you're like trying to like take in every part of the story and make sure you remember everything. I guess you start to respect it a little bit more. But thoughts? What are you guys? I mean, pretty sad, but obviously you knew the ending.
Yeah, I feel like the thing that sticks out the most for me was the parallels of growing up with different backgrounds, different personalities. They don't have super similar personalities per se in the idea of the parallels, but some of it, like when Hashirama is kind of joking with Madara about being depressed and using that to take advantage of his, like, I don't know, like anger with his depression. It's like, you know, not even anger, just like impatience, if you will.
Yeah.
And seeing that be a joke time and time again.
Time and time ago.
But yeah, it's frustrating and it's satisfying and it's mainly frustrating.
Yeah.
It is in that story, just because of seeing it from our perspective rather than being in Madara's shoes and then having, you know, Madara's clan who is known to be taken by evil. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. You bring
up in a different way.
That kind of struck me as something that like somebody said once and then other people said it enough times that it's sort of actualized that the Uchiha are like cursed. It's like obviously not actually true. And that I think parallels to real life in ways we don't need to get into necessarily, but you know, it made it all very relatable because it's like, okay, the history here, the actual history is different than how people have maybe passed it down and sort of demonized certain people over others. So just adds to the tragic nature of it, you know.
What do you mean that they weren't cursed though?
Like I just don't, I mean, it in my mind they're not actually cursed,
like consumed by evil to the point that like they can't help it. Yeah.
Like I don't
like the way that that's what I was going to bring up with Tobirama. Like they're like Tobirama, a little racist getting in here.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. It's people like Tobirama who would contribute to like racist ideas in modern day, or you know, just like he thinks wipe all of them out because they're a threat. And on some level, Hashirama is like, I see your point, but there's definitely another way.
Or like I see your concern more than like I see your point. Like I see like you're concerned, but you're going about this like the totally wrong way.
Yeah. But I guess I don't believe that they're like truly cursed in some kind of like metaphysical
like
sense,
somebody put a curse on the clan. Like it's not so tangible.
Sure.
It's like hearsay that of
Tobirama cursed them.
But I think it is a curse metaphorically, you know, like if I say, "Oh, I'm cursed," like nothing's going right today. Like I don't think somebody like has actually put a curse on me, but the idea that they love so passionately, and when something betrays that, it turns into passionate hate. Like I feel like that's the curse being talked about.
Right.
Okay, yeah. I see what you mean. So I think you guys might be defining curse differently. Because the way I think about it feels more in line with Asher, where it's like I immediately think like a ritual to like curse the family.
Whereas I think it's more like, man, they're cursed. Like
But that's like more of other people's perception of the way that the Uchiha kind of naturally are genetically, you know. And again, like if people say that enough about the Uchiha, then they're going to be like, shit, we're cursed, rather than, hey, that's not it. Let me explain a little bit. Or maybe they tried to explain a little bit, and people like Toby Rama were like, instead of you explaining, I'm going to kill you.
Well, but they also came from. I mean, think about it in primitive societies, like the science and technology of the 1800s. They considered things way different than we do.
Sure.
And we're talking pre-village life. You know, this to me gives
Stone Age.
Maybe not Stone Age, but maybe like early settlements age. Like it gives to me like this was a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know, and I think some of those things are passed down because of even the way Hashirama's father like wouldn't allow the idea of forgiveness to ever come into his family.
Yeah.
You know,
and
I think that in of itself. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think that's a curse too.
Oh yeah,
sure.
You know,
and that's
but Hashirama was able to break that.
I'm gonna say, yeah,
it's a generational curse. It's like kind of like that. That's the mentality of the curse word.
Yeah,
to me.
But that
makes a lot more sense.
Like that's up to the individual to break that themselves, as opposed to like they're cursed, so you've got to find the spellcaster and break the curse. You know what I mean? Like that's two different things.
Like Itachi.
But it is the same word.
It is, like, but it's two different. Like it's two different like interpretations. But I
don't think it was ever
of what's happening.
Yeah, I don't think it was ever like.
But I think you're right, is what I'm saying. Like I don't think they're cursed, and I think they're cursed.
Yeah,
I don't think they were cursed by a witch.
Yeah, same. I do think that
they were cursed by incorrect lines of thinking. Is what I think.
Yeah, but to put into perspective, my best bet would be that like we are. I could probably do better math on this, but like less than 100 years, maybe around 100 years, maybe probably less. Definitely less.
Because they didn't live that long, right?
Yeah, well, Hashirama and Tobirama did, and then obviously the third Hokage was alive with them, and then lived well into Naruto he was 10 at that point. So, and he's 16 now. So if we go back 16 years, that's the fourth Hokage at that point. I mean, I think it would be better to say that like what we watched at Hashirama and Madara would be at best 75 years ago. Like at most 75 years ago.
Hold the phone. That means they're going to have flying cars within the next 100 years, because they went from like primitive tribal society to having earpieces for missions within like 75 years. That's crazy. And
you're not wrong.
I don't think I want to, but there's flying cars in Boruto, and they had like screens and stuff.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, a lot of development. So that, I mean, it is weird because you watch that flashback and it's like Hashirama and Madara feel like they're growing up in like what is that called? Like feudal Japan. But then it feels like, oh, they're in some weird meld of like ninja world with some 90s technology. And that's still worlds away from like feudal Japan.
Sure.
So I get it. That's that would be a revolution boom to go from that to that 75 years. And again, that's a guess.
Yeah. Are you saying Hashirama was pretty old when he died?
I don't know. I'm more of so I'm kind of using the third Hokage's age the most, because we can infer that he's like around 70 just by the way he looks. And if he was around whenever they were alive but younger than them, then he would be, and he died whenever he was 70. then I'm just doing a rough guess that like, okay, maybe he was like 15 years younger than they were. So if we go back from where we are now at Naruto being 16, we go back 16 years, and then we add on another like 55. That'd be like 70 right there, and that's just to put the third Hokage at like adolescence age around the first and second Hokage. So to then take the first and second Hokage back down to their childhood age would be like another 10 years, I'm guessing, which would put us around 75 years from like flashback of Hashirama to today with like Sasuke and all that.
Yeah, that's weird. It seems like a really long time, but if there were only 4 Hokage total and the third one had to retake over, then it couldn't have been that long.
Yeah. There's no way to.
It's interesting
to make it go. I mean, like, because we're never told, to my knowledge, I'm sure it might be out there somewhere, but like, we're never told the age difference between Hashirama and Tobirama. We can just assume like it'd be like a couple of years, maybe. So, yeah, like, give or take, it feels like if they were to still be alive, they would be like around 100, like around 90. So, that's why I think 75 to 100 is probably like, I think that's a pretty good guess. I would be interested to see what Lore Master thinks about that. And if he can actually get like definitive numbers, because I've never looked. I'm just guessing. But go ahead.
It seems like a good guess though.
Yeah.
Were you going to say
Lore
something?
Master did. Yeah, Lore Master did confirm that that Obito did allow Swirly Toby to take over his body.
What was my argument in that? I can't remember which side I was on. That Obito was acting that way, or that Swirly was taking over and he was inside just kind of like fine with it? Or that it was just Swirly?
That's what Jack Kirby said, was that Swirly is inside and Obito's kind of like taking a break.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I'm kind of putting my own words into that, but I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But it's funny.
I love the idea that Obito is just tortured for so many years with Swirly being like, what's up? Can I come out now?
Yeah.
Because I mean, anytime he's not coming out, he's just in there, probably talking to him or something. Wild, resilient Obito Uchiha.
Yeah.
He could just be planning his
day.
Game
He's
plan.
sleeping in there, bro.
No, I'm saying like the way that he's going to take down the Leaf.
Oh, yeah. I think that's like definitely more realistic, but I like to imagine he's in there like watching movies.
Dude, I would love that. In the like,
but like his body's just
plane of existence.
Yeah.
See, that's what like. No, I like it better if he's just in the bodysuit completely like Swirly's controlled. Doing everything for him.
Like
and
he's
just,
jiggling
like,
around,
there, like, watching a movie, and he just like doesn't care. Like that's what goes through my brain. So the Hokage. Obviously, I brought that up. We talked about Tobirama being a little racist towards the old Uchiha.
It's like when one of those Saiyan people said, "Look at all those piccolos."
But something that kind of caught me off guard, something I didn't remember. The third Hokage definitely looks at himself as a failure.
Yeah.
And it's not that
like Minato did as well.
Sorry?
It seemed like Minato did as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even like the last line of the batch was like, I'm like going to try to make up for like a failure to Naruto. He feels like that was, obviously not the ideal situation for them.
It's wild to me as someone being able to view the whole thing, because it's like, dude, Minato did like everything he possibly could.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't ask for more.
Yeah. Yeah. But my question is,
he's just good people.
He's just good people. He's like his daddy. So Do you guys feel that way? Do you look at the third Hokage? I don't. I think I have too much nostalgia for the third Hokage, I guess. But I don't look at the third Hokage and be like, man, we wouldn't be in this situation if he hadn't done this a different way.
That's where I differ.
You think we would not be in this war if the third Hokage did something differently?
I don't.
Which side are you on then?
I don't think that we would be in the war.
Oh, I see. You don't. So what is it then?
What is what? What is the failure?
What could he have done differently? Yeah.
Well, I think he handled the situation with Danzo and Itachi pretty poorly. I feel like he was pretty passive. Yeah. That obviously wouldn't change Obito and Madara's minds, but there could have been more of a frontal assault on them with Sasuke without having to a lot of the side quests were distractions from them being able to continually carry out their plans. And I feel like it's just one of those you throw a stone in a river or a pond and it's going to have ripples, and I feel like some of the earlier decisions that he made in regarding being more passive with the Akatsuki would have lended more if they were more offensive and less tribalistic. They could have patched things up with other villages earlier than having Tsunade do it.
Okay, so interesting. Yeah. So you would say that because he was passive with the Akatsuki because he had Itachi in there, and was leaving all that to Itachi to basically protect the leaf from it with him. Which he...
But think of what you just said.
Right. What do you mean?
You're going to allow a group of people who want to take over the world to continue their plans.
Well, that wasn't really the for a really long time until Nagato came to the surface. The purpose of the Akatsuki was just a mercenary group. There was no open, we're going to take over the world.
But since Naruto was born and it was a problem, they wanted money, power, and to take over the world. That was their whole shtick.
Yeah, but to get rid of not this way, not the way that Nagato had planned with Obito. It was to basically get rid of war. It was to make sure that they were such a power to deter other powers. But still a world, not a recreation, not a Tsukunomi. Just a obliteration of armies. I'm not justifying it. I just think that their objective at that time and them as a group was just not as large or ambitious or scary as they became by the time Itachi and Shark Face, whatever, and Kisame came back to the village for the very first time in OG. Up until that, they were literally just mercenaries. They were just rogue ninja. They would have been regarded the same as all these other rogue ninja, just more organized.
But if that's the case, why does Madara have a plan with Obito with the Rene Rebirth? If that wasn't the plan always.
That's the plan under the wraps, but the third Hokage had no clue of that. So he's not going to open...
Madara's plan, not the Akatsuki's plan.
Right. That was under wraps. Literally, Nagato didn't even know that.
Sure. I get what you're saying. But the idea of gathering up all the Jinchuriki was not a secret. That's not just a mercenarial thing.
Well, that happened after the third Hokage's death, and that didn't come out until that wasn't even known until Shippuden. Whenever they took, not Shippuden. That wasn't even known until right after the third Hokage's death. Whenever Jiraiya found out that they were going to be after Naruto.
That's right. Yeah, my timeline switched on that. So yeah, I mean, I don't think Sarutobi was like terrible. Like I never said that. I just feel like some of the things that he chose not to do had consequences.
But
and I wouldn't chalk him up to be a.
What you said was we wouldn't be in the war. We wouldn't be in the war if he did something differently. And I don't agree with that. I think that the war was outside of his control. Like, could he have played a part? But like, there was nothing definitive that the third Hokage didn't do that would have strayed war away.
I think allowing Danzo to live didn't help.
That's what I mean, though. But like, he just like kills Danzo in cold blood. Like, whenever he even admitted that there is a shadow to the village that he had to give to Danzo because he knew he couldn't do it. So to kill Danzo would have just caused a different problem.
But like, I feel like he let past relationships and he didn't see it for what it was. Again, let me say, I don't think he was a total failure. I just feel like he failed in certain aspects. Right. Because he was maybe too forgiving or maybe didn't see it the way we see it. And that's fair because we get a whole view of everything.
Right. Yeah.
But like, it would take an absolute idiot to see Danzo as redeemable.
Well, I don't know about that though.
I'm not saying because what
I think at a certain point, Sarutobi and Danzo had a good relationship.
Yeah,
and I think it fractured because Danzo started to have ideals that were, in his mind, protect the leaf, but in the bigger picture, further fracturing to relationships between clans and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So I think there's no universe where Sarutobi is, it's not even strong-willed enough or like wherewithal or anything, but I don't think he would have ever given it a thought that like Danzo needed to be out of the picture. I think in his mind, it's like, we have to work together, but I also think
shadow.
Yeah. But I also think that was like his kind of downfall with being just being a more proactive Hokage, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I'll still contest that I don't think that he was a complete failure. I don't think that you're saying that either, Zach, but I don't think that his decisions could have been different and it would have not led to war. I think that we would have still been here because it was like outside of his knowledge and timeline.
Well, also like Madara doesn't give a shit about Sarutobi.
Yeah.
He's going to do his thing no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess to go back and just see it for where that comment came from in the dungeon with the whole crew.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like anybody would look at their life if they came back years later, all this stuff had happened. Like, I feel like the reason he says he's a failure is because he cares so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he feels like he could have done better.
Yeah. And I think he definitely could have done better. Like, I'm not saying he was like the best Hokage. That's
just what I wanted to clear up is like, I think he was a great Hokage. I do.
Yeah.
So just want that to be known.
Well,
he truly was a kind child. That's what they said about Itachi.
He was a kind child.
That's what his dad said to him right before he killed him. It's insane.
Tough. Well, is there anything else you guys want to talk about from this batch?
just is Karin gonna dry hump Sasuke all the way to the battle? Do you
During
think?
the battle, yeah, it's actually really weird to watch, but she's like basically like hooked on his leg like a chihuahua, like through the entire battle.
Yeah.
Prediction: they end. No, sorry. Yeah, they end up together, and then Naruto and I think Naruto and Karin, and then Sasuke and
Tintin.
Maybe Ino.
Ino would be a dark horse there. All right, I'm going.
I do.
Sai.
Go ahead.
Sai with Gaara.
I was gonna say the Aburame. What's his name?
Kiba.
No.
Sorry, Shino.
Shino. Yeah.
What is Kiba?
They'd be the quietest old couple of queens. I would love that arc.
What is Kiba's last name? What is Kiba's family name?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Completely agree.
There's Anbu Black Ops and there's Kiba. And then there's everybody else.
The one thing I was going to mention was
Kiba.
the observation from Saratobi asking Orochimaru why he's now all of a sudden deciding to help Sasuke. And his reasoning is interesting to me. I'm still trying to like wrap my head around what that could mean. Of Kabuto copied him. He was able to like observe Kabuto's actions and rhetoric and MO. And Sasuke did his own thing. And obviously at the surface level it means what it means. But I'm trying to like decipher what that means for the future in like a foreshadowing sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was interesting and that they would put that in there and not like skip it for the next episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Orochimaru's character change is I remember being skeptical of that too. Like it is weird. It like this whole like side of the story is like I think I definitely am way more like unforgiving of Orochimaru though. Like I'm like, nope, you don't get to be good now. Yeah.
Right.
You just have to go back to being dead. After all this, you just have to go back to being dead. But Sasuke, I'm much more like, well, Itachi still said he's a blank canvas, so.
Man, I would do anything Itachi said.
Same. Anything.
Yeah, he's a special character in the show for sure.
And now you guys understand my love for him. So
yeah, exactly.
Wild.
Night and day.
Isn't that crazy? Y'all were like, what? And it was like, it just so much development. There's no way to even explain it. Like there's like, you have to just watch.
Yeah.
Well, dude, this entire time, I will say, because you've had that profile picture for a long time of Itachi sitting in front of, like on that telephone pole in front of the moon.
Yeah.
And I'm like I get that you like some people love
bad boys.
You know, bad boys like the Joker. Like they're like,
yeah.
You know, fill in a blank of who is a bad guy in a show. And they're like, yeah, he's my guy. I like it. I like the way that he
I like he's a little bad. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, you know, maybe he's just one of those guys for that thing. Like this guy just does it for him. And I'm like, now it's like, yeah, I'd make that my profile picture. Like
it's badass.
That's a cool, just the history of that scene alone and the development with that. It's just, cool.
Cool. Gosh, what a great character. Well, the next batch is pretty big. We'll be away for a couple weeks. So in 2 weeks, we'll talk about 371 through 375, and then 378 through 387, and then 391 through 393. So it's 18 episodes in total. I'll give it one more time. 371 through 375, 378 through 387, and then 391 through 393. Or you can look up any canon list and follow it that way. But I almost closed out of this window on accident, which would have been great for the recording. Bye. Is there anything else? If not, then I'll just go ahead and sign us off. Alrighty, there he goes. Kakashi Sensei. His arms are broken. He's got the Kamui, and he's flying towards the Ten Tails.
Just kind of.
That's how he looked. Yeah, he's flying towards the Ten Tails.
He's at ODST. Halo ODST right now.
I'm gonna download that game and play it again right now.
Great game.
All right. I would say the batch again, but it's really long, so rewind it and get it again if you need to.
The slap heard round the world.